Hello there everyone, Lord Bud here. Welcome back to another snapshot video. That's right, today, Wednesday the 15th. Yes, snapshot 21W37A just dropped. And yeah, it's kind of a huge snapshot actually. It's kind of like really big. That is, unless you've been following the experimental snapshots, and then it's, well, for you, it's pretty tiny. Or even if you followed a lot of the snapshots, actually, I think earlier this year, when 1.17 was in snapshots, then in that case, yeah, I mean, it's still pretty big. Some of the stuff is things that you've already seen. Yeah, for those of you who haven't, this is going to be a crazy snapshot for you. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. But before we do that, if you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you're new here. I'm going to be posting video for pretty much every single snapshot. You won't want to miss those. Snapshot 21W37A added a bunch of big terrain changes as far as with the generation of mountains and caves. I just made a video actually yesterday talking all about the different terrain changes as far as the mountains go in the experimental snapshots, and actually just all of the experimental snapshot features in general. So if you want to get a little bit more in-depth look, definitely go ahead and check out that video right here. But we are going to talk about those a little bit in this video as well. Alright, first let's head underground and look at the new caves. And yeah, they're actually huge. And there's a bunch of them. Alright, so here's the new caves. There's a bunch of different terms and stuff for what each of these different kinds are. I don't quite understand that, so we're not going to talk about it. As we can see here, around here is actually y, well, we're actually at y-2. This is about y0. We can see from y0 and on, it very quickly becomes all deep slate. And the new bottom of the world is actually now at y-64. The abandoned mine shafts in these caves will look a little bit different. They'll either be suspended by chains, or they will be held up by log pillars, which is nice. It makes them, they make a little more sense now, instead of them just floating there. Sometimes they kind of do, but even then, like, these are held up by chains, and also they look really cool. We also have aquifers, which are like these local water levels you'll find. Sometimes they spill out and look really cool. There's also like a lava version too. Lavafers? I don't know. Now, as far as cave biomes, we have 2 of them. I guess maybe you could argue 3, but we only have 2. This cave is broken. There are kind of some bugs in the snapshot right now, but we have just caves that don't have a biome, like this here, and they're just caves. And then we have the 2 cave biomes. Number 1 is actually right over here, and this is the dripstone caves. Of course, it's full of dripstone. So we have dripstone blocks, pointed dripstones. The dripstone blocks, if there's enough height, they will form like tall columns, and then obviously the pointed dripstones will be on the bottom and on the ground. In the dripstone cave, you'll find a bunch of copper. As we can see, there's already some pretty massive copper veins. Next biome that we have is the lush caves biome. The lush caves biome is, of course, filled with moss and cave vines. Also, the bottom is made up of clay. There'll be these little water pools. We'll have drip leaves, small drip leaves. We'll have azalea bushes and such. Lots of grass. There'll be these pink flowers. I forget what they're called. Spore blossoms, yeah. And they actually emit particles, which actually look really cool. And you can put a whole bunch, and so you can just have a whole bunch of particles. Also, axolotls now will only spawn in the lush caves. So for those of you looking for axolotls or making like some kind of axolotl farm, yep, you're gonna have to go to the lush caves to build your axolotl XP farm now. Before we move on to the mountains and talk about mountain generation, we have 2 things here that I guess kind of involve with the caves. Mob spawning has been tweaked, so monsters, they used to spawn, well, most of them used to spawn at light level of 7 or less. Well, now they will only spawn if the light level is 0, meaning no light at all on that block. It has to have no light at all, and then mobs will be able to spawn there. Also, we have some ore distribution changes, and here is all of the different changes to the way ores are distributed. We don't have a fancy chart this time like we did in the 1.17 snapshots, or at least not one that I could find. So yeah, you can pause the video here or something and memorize this all, or you can write it down, or you can probably read it on the Minecraft wiki. It's probably there somewhere, and if it isn't yet, it will be soon. By the way, here's the seed for this world that we're looking at in this video. This is world spawn with a very tiny jungle, which is interesting. So before we move on and talk about the rest of like the mountain generation and stuff, I kind of want to mention this is really strange. So this Badlands Mountain is just totally hollow, and there's a massive dripstone cave in it, and if we go down, it gets even larger underneath as well. We were actually just in this one. That mine shaft down there, I think, is the same one that we looked at a minute ago. But yeah, this is like, it's crazy huge and like hollowed out the entire mountain. Sometimes it actually broke the mountain open. So yeah, I don't know if it's exactly meant to generate like that, but it did, and it's very cool. So the brand new mountains can actually generate all the way up to Y260, but they're actually built out of several different biomes. Again, my video from yesterday, make sure you go check that out for a little bit more information on all those biomes. But this one here is the meadow biome, which is one of the biomes that generates lower down. And yeah, not always do we get a massive mountain sticking out of it, but in this case we actually do have some pretty low but still cool mountains that come down into this valley here, which is very cool. Alright, so this next biome is the Grove, and it also generates a little bit lower down. Now, I'm very confused. Every world that I've loaded up, and I've loaded up a few different worlds just while making this video to check them out, every single grove I find looks like this. Now, I don't know if this is a bug. I actually watched some other videos that people were making about this snapshot to see if maybe they were having the same problem, but they weren't. So this is my grove. It's got snow, it's got some powder snow, but this isn't what the grove is meant to look like. The grove is meant to have trees. Yeah, it says right here, snowy terrain with big spruce trees and powder snow. I don't know, maybe I just have like the worst luck in the world, or maybe the grove is broken. I don't know. But yeah, this grove doesn't have trees, and none of the groves I've looked at have had trees at all either, which is really weird. Alright, this next one here actually looks a lot like what we just saw, but I assure you it's something different. This is a snowy slope. Basically it's snow and powder snow, but it's on a slope. This is actually a terrible example. Usually they're on like the slope of a much bigger mountain, but no, this looks exactly like what we just looked at. Here's a much better example of a snowy slope, and wait, is this? It's a grove with actual trees. We did it. We finally did it. They said it couldn't be done. They said I was crazy. They said I was a madman. But we finally did it. We found the grove. And it looks good. It looks really good. Yeah, this is our snowy slopes. It's a slope. And it's snowy. Now the next biome that we're going to look at is the snow-capped peaks. Now over here we can see the snow-capped peaks is actually less about the snow and more about the ice. So this is our snow-capped peak. It doesn't really look that tall, but we're actually up at Y163. So this is actually a pretty short mountain. Oh, we're integrating nice into an ice spikes. That's very cool. But yeah, the snow-capped peaks, they have packed ice on them. Apparently an igloo as well. Sometimes they also have normal ice. It would be really sweet if they could have a rare chance to generate with blue ice, but I don't think they do. Here is the next biome today, and this is going to be the lofty peak. So it's another peak biome. This one looks a lot peakier. This is a nicer looking biome than the one we just looked at. But it's going to be mostly just snow and stone, and it's going to generate very high up on the mountains. Also, goats can be here. And our last one is the Stony Peaks. This Stony Peaks happens to have an insane looking cave over here with this like hanging forest, and it's a lush cave too, which is very cool. But the Stony Peaks, it's a warm peak biome, so you'll find it near like savannas and stuff. And they have a chance to generate large strips of calcite as well, which is just a much easier way to find calcite than having to go and just tear up a bunch of geodes. And as it becomes night, it's a perfect time to show the next change. So that was actually all of the terrain differences. We get ourselves an enchanting table. We can see the next one, which is actually a parity change with Bedrock Edition. So if you play Bedrock Edition, you may not see anything different here. If you play Java Edition, you notice it. Now enchanting tables will let off a small amount of light. They did not do that before on Java Edition. They've always done that on Bedrock Edition, but now we can do that on Java Edition too, which I think is a really cool change. This is actually a Bedrock, no longer a Bedrock exclusive feature, but it was a Bedrock exclusive feature that I totally forgot about until I started on Friend or Foe Season 2, which, by the way, Friend or Foe Season 2 Episode 1 is out, and Season 2 Episode 2 will be out this Friday, so you better go check it out. It's super cool. It is a Bedrock Edition, kind of SMP style Let's Play. So yeah, go check out that and the other creators in it. You're sure to like it because it's awesome and cool. And we're going to be doing some big things, so make sure you go check that out. So this next one has to do with shears and cave vines, warped vines, twisted vines, and kelp. So if we go ahead and right click on this top part, it'll actually stop it from growing. Now we can still add bone meal to make it grow, but it will not continue to grow after that. So if we open up F3 and we look, we can actually see its age over here, and right now it is an age of 9, 15, 22 actually. Wow. So these all have a random age. We can see this kelp's age is 16. Now when we right click on it, we'll see it actually turns to age 25, and age 25 means it will not grow any longer. And we can do this, 25, 25. So now these will no longer grow any farther, which will be really good if you're using these for decoration. You won't have to like put a piece of string on top of it or anything. It'll just stay at this height, and it will never get any taller, which is actually pretty cool. Now to look at these next changes, we're gonna have to go ahead and hop into the menus. So if we go over here and we go over to options, we go to accessibility settings, what we'll see here is that we have this new one called hide lightning flashes. So basically what this does is whenever a lightning bolt strikes, it doesn't make the entirety of the sky flash, which is good because, you know, it can be kind of rough on the eyes, and for some people it could maybe cause like some epilepsy or something. So for those of you who maybe are susceptible to epilepsy or seizures, this may be the setting for you. Now another thing, our old friends Toggle Sprint and Toggle Sneak, which obviously I never use, but I know a lot of people do like them. They actually have a new location now. They are actually now under the Controls tab. Now the Controls tab is going to look entirely different. So we have our mouse settings, which are our mouse settings. We have Toggle Sneak, Toggle Sprint, and we have Auto Jump, which no one likes you Auto Jump. But we also have this one called Keybinds, which brings us to this menu, which looks familiar because this is just, you know, this is just the menu for our keybinds. So yeah, it's been moved over here. So they kind of cleaned this up a little bit, because originally all the way up at the top we had our mouse settings and stuff, and then to find these you would have to go looking around. So yeah, they kind of cleaned it up a little bit, and yeah, it's not that bad of a change. As well as axolotls now spawning only in the lush caves, they also have their own separate mob cap now. The cloud height has been changed from its original 128 to now a Y level of 192. So the clouds are actually much higher up. I think I actually have the clouds turned off right now. There we go. I actually usually do play with the clouds off. I don't know why, but I do. But yeah, now the clouds are much higher up, and yeah, it makes more sense because clouds are really high up, and especially since we have new mountains that are really tall. Even some of the taller biomes initially were kind of cutting through the clouds. You find some tall mountains that did that. Also, illagers such as the Vindicator, the Pillager, and the Evoker will no longer attack the baby villagers. So if you have a raid that fails, there will still be baby villagers, so they can grow up and yeah, they can repopulate the village. Lastly, we have a bunch of technical changes, which are things that I don't really understand. Also have whatever JF profiling is, which seems to be really complicated. We also have some different loot table things. Some stuff about converting worlds from like 1.2. Here's some stuff about that custom tags I was talking about for spawners. And yeah, a whole bunch of bugs. We have a whole bunch of bug fixes. So yeah, that's awesome that bugs are being fixed. But that's going to be it for this video. If you liked it, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe if you're new here. And yeah, I actually want to put a bit of a challenge to you guys watching the video. If you play in the new Snapshot and you find a really cool seed, make sure you send me the seed. Either comment on this video or tweet it at me. Yeah, I may be doing a series of videos here where I kind of check out some cool new seeds in the new Snapshot. So yeah, and just as the snapshots go by, send me cool seeds and tell me what snapshot they're in or whatever. And yeah, I'll be sure to check them out. And yeah, if I check out one of yours in a video, you may even get a shout out or something, which could be neat. That's it for the video. So if you like the video, go ahead and leave a like, subscribe if you're new here, hit the bell icon so you never miss out when I post a new video. I will be posting a snapshot video for every single snapshot that I can. So yeah, until next time, goodbye everybody.